Welcome to Let's Talk Freedom, where talk is cheap, but at least the thoughts are free. I'm Andre. We've got a big show in tune for you guys tonight. My name is Andre Johnson. They call me Andre Hallmark Johnson. Big show in tune for you guys tonight. Like I said, we'll be talking about the power of perception. Of course, we'll be talking about Doctor. How do you call her, Doctor
Dr.
Warrior?
Warrior.
Warrior, Doctor Warrior.
Dr. Warrior.
Who else we got with us tonight? Who's here with us tonight?
Oh, I'm John. Pleasure to meet you. Greetings. I will be discussing advanced warfare, and that's what I'm going to bring to the table tonight. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it. And and we also have who?
I go by the name Seventh Ave. I am the voice of the streets. Any city, I'm on Seventh Ave. Any hood, country, your neck of the woods, I'm here to tell you what's good. I always know what time it is. Today we be talking about Pizzagate. We kind of got cut off last week, but they ain't gonna silence us this week.
No silencing at all. No silencing at all. You ain't gonna have
Nah.
none of that. And then we also have Jen. Jen's gonna be
Yeah.
taking care of the chat room for us tonight. So if you guys are participating, the audience participation, Jen is going to be in the chat room. Everybody, please, I want you guys to realize that it's a very hard job taking care of that chat. Um, there's a million and one different opinions out there, and Jen is trying to keep everything calm and get your guys' perspective to us so we can address them. So please be very gentle in the chat. Um, Jen is not our thoughts, right? Don't take anything out on her, please. Just realize that she's helping you guys to get your thoughts on the air. So please be mindful of that. And with that being said, we're going to be opening the chat line. The chat line is always open, so you can always drop your comments. Anything that you want to say, just go ahead and bring it in the chat. We will address it whenever whenever Jen says to go ahead and address it. All right. So with that
I
being
am also live tweeting on Twitter right now. You can find me at AVE underscore 7TH. So Av underscore 7. We live tweeting. You could hit us comments and concerns, and we'll address them as they come in, if they come in.
sounds
So also,
good.
I want to add something. I will just be sitting here discussing things, being in the moment. I will not be preoccupied. All right.
Good. At least somebody has an easy job, and we are missing somebody for right now. Our co-host, one of our hosts, Vincent. He's actually running late right now. We know how life gets in the way, so Vince is running late, and hopefully, traffic spares him, and he can get here as soon as possible.
Indeed. So
Good
let's
enough.
kick this off.
So, with that being said, the first topic of the night that I would like to speak about is perception, the power of perception, right? Perception is a really big thing that a lot of people don't really realize, I guess, how powerful of a thing it is, and it really drives a lot of the arguments that we see today. It drives a lot of the way how people live their lives. It drives a lot of the things that happen in people's lives. Perception is very powerful, and the fact that people don't really, or most people don't really put it into consideration that we create our own destiny by simply, first of all, our perception of the way we see how life um, operates, and the way we see certain things. And like the most simple way I can explain it is the one that everybody knows, is the perception of whether your cup is half full or half empty. And me personally, I'm the type of guy that I always, my cup is always half full. Actually, not even half full. When somebody asks me whether my cup is half full or half empty, my answer is thank God I have a cup. You know, I really and truly, I'm not really concerned whether it's half full or half empty. My idea is thank God I have a cup, because some people don't really have a cup. You know what I mean? And I strictly believe that that perception helps me a lot in life. It helps me to look at certain things differently than a lot of people do. And that's really where I want to go with my thoughts tonight. Hey, what do you guys think?
Well, I'm gonna chime in real quick, man.
Hmm.
I'm a depressant, so my cup is perpetually emptying out. Um, I don't think it hinders me in any way. I actually think it keeps me grounded as a realist because I would love to believe that, the world's made of gumdrops and unicorns and stuff like that. But my way of thinking just keeps me grounded. It keeps me really, really aware of my surroundings. Sometimes it can get in the way to where something seems too good to be true than it probably is. That's my first train of thought. But it keeps me, it really keeps me focused on what's going on. Um,
Hmm.
as far as being appreciative through like the everyday stuff,
Gotcha.
because I could just not have it. You know what I'm saying? But I try to hope for the best, and so I think that ties into what you're saying. But yeah, I'm a half empty kind of guy.
On that note, though, on that note, one second, Luch. On that note, um, I tend to believe that the easiest way to get what you want is to appreciate what it is you have. And by appreciating me, I feel like I get everything I want easily. I feel like everything, if I go to Publix and I want the parking spot right next to, the what the heck is going on there? Hold on one second. I see something strange on the YouTube that I shouldn't be seeing. But if I want something, why is that there? If I want something, if I want to go to the parking lot and go to Publix and get the parking spot right up front, right next to the door, right next to the handicap spot, I believe my vision of it being available when I get there, you know, helps me to to realize that, to actually to get there, and that's
Decked out to resemble like 1970s or something like that, a better era or whatever, something that they were young men during the time, and like the only news that played was like Cuban Missile Crisis, stuff like that, and when these guys got there, they needed assistance to go through the door. But since they were just in a mindset that they were younger,
hmm
toward the end of the experiment, they were playing like touch football and stuff in the courtyard. Like these are guys that needed assistance to
right.
carry luggage and themselves into the place. But it was all about I think a study about how you're saying speaking it into existence or unlocking the potentials of the human mind to strengthen or repair the body, which
Right.
I'm a deep believer of that.
Absolutely, and I believe it's with all aspects of life. I don't think it's just with with just the body alone. I believe it's with all aspects of life. Even this, what we're doing right now, where we're sitting and we're it all came from the mind first. You know what I mean? Now it's something that we can see and we can touch and we can feel and we're doing. But it came originally from the place of the mind, and it didn't come from a place where I felt like it was something that couldn't happen, because if I felt like that, it wouldn't, we wouldn't be here today. I don't think it was always something that I felt like could happen, and I believe that's the start of everything right there. Is that planting that seed in your mind? But I don't
Yeah.
want, you know what I mean? I don't want to go on all night with that, but that's really between the power of how you see things and how you see the outcome of things. I believe is really very important. Between that and gratitude, like I said, the easiest way I believe to get what it is what it is you want to have is Vince is asking for a password. Did you guys need a password? No?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yes.
I
You
just
needed
clicked
a
on it.
password, Jen?
It was I don't remember where I
Don't
got
give the password out.
Don't give the password out, whatever it is.
No, it was some code that it gave me when I got Zoom. It gave me some code and
It
I
should be
had to put
some
it in.
code.
Yeah.
The password is 1 2 3 4 5 6.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So what about you, Luke, man? What's
1 2 3 4 5. What's that?
The
did you
power
hear
of
me?
perception. You froze.
About the whole perception thing.
Yeah.
I say looking at like cup half full, half empty. I got a full cup, and I'm gonna tell you why I have a full cup. Because I don't drink my cup. I find somebody else's cup, and I drink half of their shit. So I always got a
Bruh.
full cup on deck, and
Because
I'm
you're
just
always
looking for my
drinking.
next half cup.
So you're one of those dudes. You're the other
I,
type of you're the other kind. So you'll be the kind of guy where I would say we're taking advantage. You take advantage of the situation. You look at the people that always have a cup half empty, and you just drink that half that they have empty, and then you keep your cup.
oh no! I went till they get that full cup, and and I'm the reason why they have half a cup, and it's on them to think whether they half full or half empty. All I know is I got my drink on. I still got a full cup, and you at least got half a cup left. Because I'm not gonna take the last of anybody's anything ever. That's just rude. That's my personal standpoint on it. But when it comes to like speaking things into existence, yeah, a lot of times I feel myself getting ill, or I feel like I'm getting sick, and I'll just be lying there. I can go take a hot ash. I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting sick. I ain't gonna be sick. Fuck that shit. I got shit to do tomorrow. I'm not gonna be sick. And like I say, like 80% of the time, I'm not sick.
Okay.
What up?
Vince is
What
in
up,
the
Pablo?
building.
Get his take
Can
on
he?
it, man. He'll
Can
he'll articulate it beautifully.
is his voice on?
Yes, I was being silent.
So we're discussing the power of perception and how that affects, speaking things into existence, or how it affects the daily. So what's your take on it, man?
Talking to G to the W.
Whoa! Your thing is
Ooh.
loud. Your mic is super loud, bro. Turn that down. Too low. Yeah, your mic doesn't usually sound like that. What's going on? Yeah, maybe you should
He's in fucking space.
maybe you should chip out and come back.
That's why he was late.
Yeah, maybe you should hang up and come back.
So unacceptable.
It's very bad. It's horrible.
It sounds like you're floating in a tin can, bro.
Right.
So far away.
No, you're in the waiting room.
All right, what's going on?
All right, so
All right.
go ahead, Luch. Where you were at?
Yeah, just what I'm saying. Like, I don't get like I talk things in existence, and like sometimes I'm like, you know what? I want to have a job. I want to do well in my job. So I'm like, this job right here, I'm going to apply for. I'm finna get this job, and they usually don't work out because people check my background and everything. They're like, nah, hell no, you can't work here. But I say it anyways, because just in case I find that one guy's like, you know what? I don't care about your record. You seem like a good guy. You give off positive vibes. Welcome aboard.
So,
So like, and I would have to say that's me speaking that into existence.
and so that actually has worked for you before.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask, and So to put it in like more very simple terms, right? Um, everything I feel like everything that it is you talk about or everything that you accomplish in life, right? In real life, you first start by accomplishing the idea that you understand that you can achieve it, right?
Right.
So like saying that to say, a lot of people here, a lot of people will say, I can't do this and I can't do that, and I believe that strictly just because they say they can't leads them because they actually think they can't, so they don't actually put the effort. But once you actually think you can, you will actually do whatever it is possible. You'll move whatever mountain that needs to be moved because you actually believe that you can. Like,
I mean, that goes along with the old MLM saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
exactly. Go ahead, John.
Sometimes that stuff works against people, man. So another article I'd read is that during this whole pandemic, a lot of kids are at home, so they got to play on. And this is in Asia. I don't know if it was China or Japan, one of the two. Um, but the kids just play like some mobile app game or whatever. It's where they have infinite lives and all this stuff. So they went up to the top of the building. They jumped off because they were hoping that um, they would respawn. I guess. Well, they would respawn because in the gamer world, that's exactly what it is. And they ended up breaking multiple bones and having to go to the hospital. But they truly believe that they would just come into a better existence if they did it. And so I understand what you're saying, but I think sometimes people take that stuff way too literal instead of figurative.
I mean, but come on now, like there's like a physical barrier of reality that like you can say like I'm not gonna get sick, I'm gonna get this job. You're gonna put positive vibes out into the out into the world. But if you say like, you know what, I'm gonna jump off this building and I'm gonna respawn, like you got way more problems than trying to talk shit into existence, bro.
No, but you don't. That's so you're talking about saying something and not believing it and going trying it anyway. I'm not
No, he's
talking
saying that
about that.
these kids are legit believing like, yo, I'm gonna jump off this building and I'm gonna respawn.
No, they don't believe that.
That's not
They,
physically fucking possible.
but no, they don't. They honestly don't believe that because if they were to believe that, they would actually put something into doing something to make sure they actually fly. You know what I mean? Like put on one of those fly body suits or what something. You understand what I mean? Like it's setting themselves up for failure
It's
because
not
that's
all
what they're
right.
actually after is the
Like I said,
failure.
like I said, I am a depressant, so I'm gonna stay a little bit grounded on this one.
Right.
So that's the forewarning. Vince, man, well, what's up, man? Can't talk.
Mic check.
Oh,
That
he
There
better?
you
sounds
There
go.
better.
you go. Eh, papo.
Are we okay now?
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Vinso, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Our token white boys in the building, guys.
Whoop, whoop.
Hey,
No, you're not.
I am I am technically of the caucus persuasion as
No,
well.
you're not. Get out of here. Nobody's
Speaking
gonna
on
steal
your
my
own, bro.
shoes.
Lo siento, papo. Okay, my bad.
Listen, we're like
I'll be off white.
we're the Rainbow Coalition here for legit. Everybody is representing a little bit of a different shade and a little bit of a different flavor. I think we're gonna make a good soup here.
So we
I
couldn't
don't
hear you
know.
before. Can you reiterate your view on the power of perception?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I would be honored
Please
for
do.
you. Anybody who shares his anime little hookups with me, I appreciate that.
Sir.
Perception is everything. Perception is kind of like faith. It's what drives you and why you're driven because you're looking from that angle. So there's something huge to be said about that. I'm kind of coming in on the tail end of the question, but simplistic answer is angle is everything, man. It drives you. It drives the way that you're going to perceive situations. Um, it can completely alter for good or for bad based on what your angle is, what your perception is, what angle you want to see from. Can ruin everything or make everything.
I prefer to see things from a 45-degree angle. I don't know. That's just me. That's like my favorite angle.
What do you mean by a 45-degree angle? What do you mean by that?
He's busting.
I mean,
He
whenever
doesn't mean anything.
like my TV sits at a 45-degree angle. Like I position myself at a 45-degree angle, so everything in my view is at 45 degrees.
Look at his hat.
Think
It's
about
a
it.
45-degree angle.
It actually is. You know, it's
You
funny.
must have a-
Funny you mentioned that. You know, I've had a problem all my life. Every time I take a picture, people are telling me to hold my head straight, and for some reason, like my head always like it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter how straight they like. If I'm holding it this way and they say straight, and I think I'm straight, and they take the picture, and I'm like this. I don't I can't hold my head straight for a picture.
All them heavy thoughts, bro.
Word. I like that.
Them thoughts way ass down, huh? Okay. All right. Let's bring Jen into the conversation because she actually has a what's it called? She has a comment. She has a really good comment that she wanted to bring in. Jen, you're not in the waiting room anymore. What happened? Yeah,
Can't
I
hear.
don't, Jen. I don't see you in the waiting room. So do me a favor and
I
call
think she
back.
said she got cut off.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I had made a comment that said you might have OCD seventh. I don't mean to put down anybody with OCD. I know it's a real thing. I just want to put that disclaimer. I'm not hating.
Oh no, I
have
definitely have OCD, bro.
Stop hating on the OCD people, bro.
And I got island
It's not
CD.
fair, my nigga.
I got a lot of island CDs.
Yeah,
Ain't that Jamaican? No, actually, what I mean by island CD is I don't care. When I get there, I get there. If people don't like it, I don't care either.
That's that. That's
If
that.
it
That's that.
interests me, I'll pay attention. If it doesn't, I don't care.
That's that. That's that. Time mentality you must have picked up from somebody.
I don't know.
hey, there's somebody in the comment section with a Q. Don't we haven't forgot about you. We're gonna get Jen in, but go ahead, go back, go ahead with your conversation, guys.
Oh well. Let me just put this back out there. I do know a couple people with severe OCD, and they enlightened me to everybody has OCD. You just don't know it yet. Until you're aware of it, then you start. Then the issues start becoming a problem, man. Because I never realized that my hatred of half-open drawers and cabinets was OCD until I met this person, and it makes sense because
I think
I get
OCD.
so just when I see that stuff.
I mean, honestly, OCD is helpful.
I believe
Yeah.
that's just a part
It
of
can
life,
be, yeah,
bro.
but it all
I believe that's just a part of life, dude. I
It can be a
honestly,
strength.
I believe it's just a thing. I believe that.
no,
So if everybody
no,
has it, why is it a disease? If
no. See,
everybody
because
has it, that doesn't make sense,
some people have it more severe.
right?
True
So
story, man. True story. Okay, so I have a friend, and he has severe OCD.
I believe that.
So much
If
so,
everybody has it, why is it a disease?
hey, I'm
You
getting a
have to turn
feedback.
out, yeah, Jen, you need to
Turn off the sound.
turn
I
on
don't
that
think
other thing.
everybody has OCD.
Right. So
I have OCD. Like I leave my house and
Wait.
I could drive half a mile and I have to come back home and check my stove and my doorknobs.
turn down,
That's OCD.
Jen, turn down that thing in the background. Turn on the other, so where you're listening to a song.
Everybody has OCD. Right. So I have.
All
Okay.
right. Perfect.
We're in the loop.
All right. There you go.
No problem. No problem. He said everybody has OCD.
No, not
Yeah,
everybody
I
does.
think they do.
Like OCD is not just having to have clean shelves and organize your socks. You know what I'm saying? Like OCD is actually continuously thinking about something and it stops you from progressing in your day or actually doing something. Like every morning before I leave the house, I got a lot better, but I used to get like half a block away and have to come back and check the stove unplug everything, check all doorknobs and all light switches, because I have this obsession with my house catching fire and everything just burning up, and I cannot progress. So I would come back and I would do that 4 or 5 times exactly every single day at the exact same time every single day. Or I count tiles. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane. Like I'll sit there and count like 1,050 tiles and go back to the beginning in the very next day.
Well, see, that's what I was trying to touch on, is that my friend that with the severe OCD, he had the number, I think 36, to where if he tried to put on his shoe, he would have to tie it, successfully tie it, untie it, successfully tie it, untie it, because he just felt, the way he described it, he said there's an anxiety that builds up that something's going to go horribly wrong until he completes his ritual.
Now, you see, on that point, right? You see how you just said, because he feels like something is going to go horribly wrong. I feel like that has to do with perception. And I also, you know what I mean? Because you feel like that, you have to do those things. And because you see, that's the way you see life is, you see life as, if I don't get this right 36 times, I'm not going to get it right. And I believe that honestly brings that into his life, to where if he does it 34 times and goes out the door or something, he might just trip, just because he psychologically screwed himself to feel that way.
I don't think that's a choice, though.
Well, the thing is, it's not always a choice. Like, you don't always have the option in your brain to say, okay, I'm just going to turn this off. You have to learn a behavior to turn that off. So, because a lot of it stems from trauma, and usually early childhood trauma. And it could be anything, like your big brother constantly locking you in a closet or a trunk of a car. You know what I'm saying? And that, to some people, that's traumatic. And other people, it's not. It depends. And then it just manifests in anxiety. And you don't always have the ability to just shut that switch off. So you have to learn those types of behaviors to be able to shut that switch off. Thank God I learned it. But I mean, it doesn't come easy. It takes years and years.
I know exactly where you're coming from. I have my car makes a distinctive noise when it starts up and runs. Mm-hmm. And a lot of other cars in, we'll say, the tuner community have similar sounds to it. And I've had my car stolen multiple times. So anytime I hear a car that sounds like my car, I'm always running up, looking out the window, running down to check to see if my car's in the parking spot. Yeah. Like, that's like, because I have an irrational fear of my car being stolen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had a comment. Actually, you have a very good comment.
Well, somebody left a comment that if the accusations and statements made by Q are true, then people are feeling the heat. And is there going to be an actual public attempt to assassinate POTUS? And actually, there's actually been like something like 90-something credible attempts.
Wow.
So far since 2016.
On that. And say that even under Trump, there's been so many assassination attempts, but they haven't hit the media.
Right.
There have been. So yeah, that's like, we're into the 20s right now.
Right. Honestly, I have never even, because I mean, I know The Simpsons predicted his death. So, and The Simpsons are usually right with their predictions. I'm hoping they're wrong, because honestly, I see him doing a lot of things that are going completely against the grain. Messing with Hillary, I mean,
that's because you hate kittens. Sorry. I got something came over me. I was looking for an intelligent response to why you would say anything positive about him, and that's just what blurted out. I apologize.
I mean,
go ahead, Luke. Go ahead, Lush.
I mean, Trump did do the thing with the prescription drugs and everything to try to make it more affordable for people within America. Like, his whole plan that he's going on with the prescription drugs, I support.
Because you hate
people are like,
I can't help myself, guys. I'm sorry.
Yes, I hate kittens. I don't like kittens at all. stupid ass animals. Anyway,
You're gonna get hate mail.
anyway, real shit. You don't talk bad about cats
You're
on
gonna
the
be on
internet.
that
He's
Netflix
lying.
Definitely gonna get
documentary.
hate mail.
I'm a cat person. I have a cat in the house. I love that little puta. Anyways, anyway, I mean, there's kids that literally died because they were trying to hold on and make their insulin last. You know what I mean? Because they can't afford to keep a re-up on insulin. The EpiPens, those things are what, like $200, $300, $400, $500 a piece for one
Try
pen that you have to
more.
change.
My
They
dad
gotta-
paid
you gotta-
$900 a pen.
And you got to switch that out every month.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. These things that
Yeah.
are saving people's lives that are medically necessary should no way, shape, or form be that much money.
You know why? My beliefs though. My beliefs on that is that simply because the insurance companies, between the insurance companies and the government, we need to get them out of healthcare. I mean, completely, and have a free market where doctors are competing, doctors and people that make medication and people that make prescription drugs and people that supply all these things have to compete with each other. Otherwise than that, it's just a free reign for them to just keep
And
on going higher and higher and
that's
higher.
what Trump is doing with his plan.
Right. So
Trump is making it so now we can legally import drugs from like Canada or other countries
Yeah.
where medications are cheaper.
right.
Because
Well,
there's no reason that we're paying 6 times more than any other country just for the same kind of medicine that keep us alive.
absolutely. As far as our comment to our commenter, thank you for the comment. It was an awesome comment. We really appreciate that. Keep the comments coming. We're gonna address everything that we feel like needs to be addressed. And I also want to. No, we're not gonna stay too long on it. We're actually gonna do some research and get to cue one of these coming shows in the very near future. But that's a little bit off topic for today's show. With that in mind, we do have Shell Speaks Truth in the building. But before we go to her, I believe John has a final comment that he wants to wrap up with. Let
Oh
it
no,
roll,
I
Fry.
don't. I don't. I was just trying to make sure that we made sure we address Q. That's all.
Yeah. So as
I
far
don't
as
even know what Q is.
I'm a
right,
QAnon.
you're
I am an
QAnon,
The letters of the alphabet.
and I
My man.
follow.
17th letter.
High five.
V to the two, so the V to the W. So, me personally, too, I do follow Q on Facebook. Very interesting because a lot of the things that they say line up with what the president says before he even says it, and
Mhm.
Q is definitely somebody. So there's definitely something for another show. But we don't want to get too sidetracked off because we got a lot going on, and we only have 2 hours, which we already ate up 35 minutes of. So, Shelly, can we go to you?
Well, first of all, good evening, everybody.
Yay.
Hey, Miss Lady.
Hey, Shelly.
Hi.
Shelley
Um,
Speaks Truth on YouTube. Subscribe to her if you're not already.
Shelly Speaks Truth.
Yep. Remember to hit that bell for her videos.
Turn on your notifications, please.
Right.
like and share.
What
Um,
do you got this week on your rant, Shells?
oh, okay. So I'll just get right into it. A lot of people have been talking about it. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson getting their Greek citizenship, and to people who don't really understand why that is at the site now, because the mainstream media is not really talking about why Tom Hanks is at the center of controversy is because he's being accused of some pretty heinous acts,
Yeah.
food, pedophilia, and possible child sacrifice. So a lot of people might be wondering, well, what's the harm in him getting, him and his wife getting a Greek citizenship? So I did a search on Greece,
Ellie.
found that Greece doesn't have any official extradition policy with any country. So some people may say that, it's harmless that they got their citizenship, but when you think about what Tom Hanks is being accused of, I think that that would be the perfect cover up for him to get that citizenship and kind of, ride into the sunset without fear of being prosecuted for anything that he is being accused of. I'm not saying that you should believe every conspiracy that you hear, but a lot of this stuff is not conspiracy theories. When you begin to look more into it, you come to see that it's really just a conspiracy. And if we, stop deifying a lot of these people that we see as the wealthy and the rich and famous, a lot of times we deify them and we make it seem as if they're not human. And at the end of the day, they're human just like all of us. They're not without fault. They can do heinous things just like anybody else. And I was talking earlier and I was saying, if you heard that your next door neighbor did something like that, would you be quick to call it a conspiracy theory, or would you be inclined to believe it? So my thing is, we really have to stop deifying these people and making it seem like they're above us. They're human beings just like we are. They're capable of doing anything. And I think that when we are presented with this type of stuff, I'm not saying that we have to believe it off the bat, but it is, it would be in our favor to look into it and investigate it and utilize our common sense to see if it's worth a grain of salt, if it's worth our attention, because a lot of this stuff is going under the radar simply because people just are afraid to admit that they have been living in a reality that is not really what it seems. And I think that we're doing ourselves a great disservice when we just pawn something off as a conspiracy theory when we haven't taken out the time to look into it and see what's really going on. Things, there's a lot of crimes that are going unchecked because these people have status and power, and the media is going to do what the media does, which is serve its. It's up to us at a grassroots level to look into these things so that these things don't continue to happen. So that's just my little 2 cents for this week. Another thing that I want to say before I go is, like I was saying, common sense is free. If we just take the time to utilize a little bit of common sense and look at this stuff for what it is without, having any attachment to these people, because at the end of the day, we don't know these people personally. And if you can look at your next door neighbor or the common person and believe that they're capable of doing things, don't look at a celebrity because they're rich and famous and think that they would never do this. They're human beings just like you and I. And I think that we ignore this because we don't want to face reality for what it is, that the children. So I just want to encourage everybody to look a little bit deeper into things. Don't be so quick to dismiss it as conspiracy theories, because at the end of the day, if you all remember, the guy that played Kevin, whoever watched the show, he came out and admitted after several years that he was a pedophile. The other young lady from the show, I think it was Smallville, she came out and admitted that she was in the middle of human trafficking. And so,
Yeah, that was that Allison Mack.
yeah, these are well-known people committing these heinous crimes. So we can't just look at these people and think that they're above us because, they have more money than many of us will probably ever touch. We have to see them as human beings, know that they are not without fault, and we have to hold them accountable just like we would do any other common person.
I agree.
Well, they do say don't meet your heroes because more than likely they're going to disappoint you. I don't want whatever he's being accused of to be true. Obviously, I don't. I'm a fan, but I can't put it past. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, people are human. People are.
Here's the thing, though.
I said it in a couple shows ago. They're capable of some nasty stuff, man. And just because you're a likable character doesn't give you a free pass and exclude you from that rule. What's up, Seven?
Here's the thing. The whole Tom Hanks and Grease thing is like a double, triple, quadruple-edged sword because you can look at it from every perspective. Say like my man is guilty of pedophile type stuff and he's running away from it. That's why he slid to Greece. Greece doesn't have a extradition policy per se, but their extradition policy is that if they're accused of a crime in another country, that's also a crime in their country, they can be extradited for that. They can't be taken from Greece and sent back to wherever the hell they're going to have to face these charges for.
As
Good point.
long as they
Here's where
are
it gets-
not Greek citizens, though.
Good point.
They,
And
if they
here's
are
where it
Greek
gets tricky.
citizen, they don't turn them over as much.
good point. Good
If
point,
he
though.
keeps
where it
his
gets
American citizenship, they will send his ass back.
And-
This is where it gets tricky now. So now, all right. So he over there, he got his citizenship, blase squad, fucking the extradition thing. In Greece, pedophilia is
It's legal.
a disability
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's
to
not.
the point where you can collect government benefits because you're a pedophile.
No, but
And here's where the other edge of the sword comes in. Say like Tom Hanks really is a pedo, and he went to Greece. Greece has a huge problem with pedophilia and sex crimes against children. I was just reading about it yesterday.
when you
They
say
have a huge problem that they arrest pedophiles by the fucking boatloads.
but here's the thing.
So it's
But
just
Luch-
like, did he really go there to hide from these charges, or is this like his Disneyland?
But it's like, but my thing is, like I mean, you didn't really touch on it, but all of that pedophilia and that child ritual stuff, and that's where the stuff comes from. Is ancient Greek. That's where it
Yeah.
comes from. That's where it originates from.
Well, it comes from everywhere in the world because every culture did it in ancient times. It wasn't just the Greeks, but they were prolific at it. They were good. Them and the Romans, boy. I saw Alexander. I know you saw Alexander, the movie.
Greek love is a phrase for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
You guys are gonna have to Wikipedia that. You may not want to use Google because they might censor it now.
Yeah.
Like ice cream, but
but I
Real
gotta
thing.
I gotta be
Check
honest
out.
with you. It's not something that's been practiced all over the world, though. Especially from back in those times, because that's not something that Africans know as a civilization. That's something that's very, very, very looked down upon.
In
On-
South
you know.
America, that's common. Like, okay, so my mother was 14 when she was married, had her first kid. My father was an adult.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
And-
mean, and the other part of it is that Greece influenced a lot of the world.
Yeah.
They you know, if you look at the White House, what is it? You know, it looks like the columns and all of that. I mean,
But you have to look at it like this too. Like the whole satanic stuff didn't come around until Christianity became popular.
huh?
Well, it was paganism first,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Christianity has its roots in paganism.
Right.
But I'm
Well-
saying like legitimate, like the Satanism.
Oh, like
cult would have been like that.
Luciferianism, because paganism is not devil
That
worship.
no, of course not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit didn't pop up until we had Jesus and
That's
all
true.
them.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
thing
well-
is he
So
pointed
it-
it out. Not to get too far off topic, but he
I
pointed
blame
it
the
out.
Romans.
So when you put the spotlight on something, it tends to be more evident. So that's where that ties into Christianity, because other cultures at the time, they wouldn't call that out. So when you sacrifice a child to Moloch, and we'll say that for another time, that was so common, that would have been like, so you drive a Ford truck.
Yeah, no big deal.
But that's how it was, like the
That's how
Aztecs and the
common it
Incans.
was. Thank you. So it was normal back then. Child
Yeah.
sacrifice,
They,
temple
they took-
prostitution, etc. And then when Christianity came about, they say, "Hey, this is wrong," and that's
Yeah.
why I got the spotlight after Christianity.
yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. 100%.
White boy
Because
out.
because the Aztecs and the Incans would take girls who have had their periods but are still virgins. And that's the girls that they would sacrifice, or they would take the most beautiful ones to be with the oracles. And just like the Greeks, just like the Romans, they would do so many things to young, beautiful virgins. It was like they would eat their hearts and all kinds of crazy shit, sacrifice them to the sun god. And so I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. Until
Yeah, we just,
Christianity
like-
said it was bad, it was okay with the world.
It was just normal. So
Yeah.
we just V-lined into Pizzagate. What we
Oh, yeah.
That would be my topic.
So Shelly,
well, if one of
you
black
sticking around with us?
who?
Shells.
Who?
Miss
Shelly,
Shelley.
you sticking?
I didn't hear. Yeah, for a little while
Oh,
longer, but
good.
I
Okay,
just
good.
wanted to
Go ahead.
hear because speaking about if he would go over there and that would be his Disneyland or whatever, I think that as far as him being touched or someone doing something to him or him getting locked up because he is possibly a pedophile, he's a man of means, so I really don't see how that would be happening to him. I think that they're already kind of aware of what his situation is because in other parts of the world, this stuff is being shown on live TV and mainstream news. So America is pretty much America and other places, but primarily America is keeping this stuff under wraps. So this is not really as hidden in other parts of the world. I seen a clip where they had several actors and actresses up on the screen on the live news talking about these things. So I don't think that if he goes over there and they decide to stay there, I really don't think that any harm would come to them. And I honestly think it's a cover up. Some people might say it's a coincidence, but I honestly feel that it is a cover up. And I think that that would be the perfect way for him to wiggle his way out of it.
I mean, he's been setting it up for the past couple of years.
Well, I heard
He's
that
been very instrumental in the Greek government helping fund. Damn, I wish I got it on the tip of my tongue. But he donated a lot of money for when they had the fires and shit over there. He's been an advocate for Greece for a long time. They were just named honorary citizens, I think, last year or the year prior. So if this is his covering up and him knowing like, yo, this shit's about to come out, he's been doing it for the past couple of years to build up his escape.
Philanthropy.
Of course.
This is not all of a sudden thing for him.
They thought they would get away with it forever.
Does
But
anybody?
that's how they get away with it around the world is philanthropy.
I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
when Epstein got
their
knocked,
mask.
that's when everybody started shaking. That's
Right,
when
but
everybody started making their
mask.
moves.
And then,
It's,
but
look at this hand, don't look at this hand. That's what that is.
but what about the
You
fact
know?
that I mean we're about to turn the month and get into August. I know Hillary's got to testify in August. Anybody
September
has a
9th.
what is it?
September 9th.
Oh, it's September. I thought it was
September.
August.
Yes, September.
In front of the DOJ.
Oh
September
Jesus! I
9th.
thought it was August. I thought we were getting close. I thought we were getting like all the way to September. Jeesh.
Yeah.
Well, that's very close. It's only a month away.
Ah.
Yeah, we about there.
That only leaves 2 more months before the election, though. You know, they could drag court out for 2 months easily. But go ahead.
I don't know.
So you got, I have this tweet sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
And I would like to read it to you guys. And this is what they call an evidence of Pizzagate. It was written by Miss Chrissy Teigen. And she writes, I woke up this morning with a pizza on my chest and ranch dressing all over me. So if you think I'm too good for this, you are sadly mistaken. Now, people see this as like, oh, she's definitely a pedophile. Me, I think she's just a sloppy chick that likes to eat pizza and ranch, and that's like right up my alley. That's like my kind of chick. So what are your guys' thoughts on it? Is that evidence or is that just a sloppy chick?
That's not
It's
evidence.
speculation.
That's not evidence.
But just
What's
saying this-
evidence is talking about half naked girls on whatever toddlers and tiaras and how they do splits.
Hold on, I think I have that tweet.
You know what I'm
somewhere.
talking about? Like it sends some sort of chill or whatever the fuck she said. I'm sorry. Whatever the F she said. She.
Oh, I am 1,000,000% going to be a child from toddlers and tears for Halloween. Can we fast forward time, please? I'm beyond excited.
So there's one about
I
them
have-
doing splits and it's a sexualized tweet about children.
Here we go. I just saw a baby that looked like a porn star, like a trashy do anything porn star. Is it wrong to think?
Yes. Naive
Yeah.
sexualized.
Well, of course it is wrong to think. Accidentally went to a children's aquarium looking pretty pedo bearish, cruising the parking lot. Like, I don't know why she's tweeting these things. Is she trying to be funny? Is she just trying to like throw evidence
It's about
and like,
pedophilia.
this is me, this is who I am. I like to be
Who-
fucking weird and do dumb shit.
who jokes about pedophilia?
To me,
Especially with being in the limelight like that, who does that with a risk to what it may do to their reputation? All these people have handlers. Like, I'm sorry, a handler would have said, I don't think this is a good idea.
Maybe
I
not,
mean,
though. Remember,
then,
these people like to shine their sins the
That's
same
true.
way. And,
Beatles
oh,
drink Pito Light.
I'm speaking in a whole like different angle. We're gonna we're on different angles, but we're kind of saying the same thing. These people,
Yeah.
they love to shine their sins.
That's true. That
And
is true.
when
They
somebody
flaunt
goes,
it.
I just killed somebody. I
Yeah.
raped your mother, stuffed her in a van, and drove her. Like, they say that for shock value. I get it. You know, some of these music people. I'm referring to one in particular who's a snitch, gets stitches. But that's how stupid they are. So never underestimate the pinnacle of stupidity within anyone.
That's true.
So, do you think it also correlates to that like a serial killer frame of mind, to where they like to revisit the scene of the crime so they
Yes.
can feel that little rush?
That rush. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
what do you guys think about the occult? Because isn't it one of their main things that they always have? Their thing is like an inside joke for them to put truth in plain sight.
Yes,
Exactly.
ma'am.
So they'll put something out in the open. It'll seem crazy and ridiculous to us, but they're communicating with each other because it's about putting truth in plain sight.
Yeah.
I'm
So
glad you brought that up.
That makes
I'm
yeah.
good.
That's
Are you guys familiar with Comet Ping Pong Pizza?
yes.
Okay. Well, Comet Ping Pong Pizza, their original logo featured one that had similarities with a Universal pedophile logo. And some of the art within the building, for being a children's pizzeria, it was very, very questionable about the kind of content that they had on the walls.
That was
Now,
not
I say that to say this. People are using this as like a smoking gun type evidence that that Pizzagate is real. But what if it's all just done purposely? Like, because it's so smoking gunish. The only thing missing is a bullet to match up.
I don't think it's smoking gun at all. Only to people that are paying attention to it. Think on frequencies. Okay, so those of you that know radio, etc., especially us, I think all of us are of the age that we used to like dial in the frequencies on our radios. Is everybody?
hey, listen, man.
Yeah.
I still believe in the doggone AM FM radio.
Okay, perfect. So these people that are on these frequencies, you may be someone that listens to one station, and you're not even aware of the music that exists outside that station because you've never been there. That's the
Right.
same thing that happens with people's, let's call it, frequencies. So when people are communicating on the same frequency, though, they find each other. And as far as the smoking gun, I think it was always in plain sight. You just had to know or be on the know that that's what's going down here at this place. I'll take it one step further. When I was a teenager, we all knew where we're going to have a block party. The parents didn't know. The cops didn't know. The people that were in the same classroom with us didn't know. But those of us that were on that frequency were like, hey, you guys cruising out tonight? Yeah, we had code names. We're like, y'all gonna hang out in the hammocks? Well, the hammocks was for Timber Hammock. That was a neighborhood that I grew up close to. And it was a developing neighborhood. So there was no houses out there. So that's where you took the cars, and that's where everybody showed up with their weed and their drink. So if you're not on that frequency, you just missed it altogether. Now, there'd be this evidence, and this goes into the smoking gun, seventh. You go out there and you could look and say, you know what? We found a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 out there in the cul-de-sac. Was it enough to incriminate us? No way. That wasn't us. But at the same note, we were out there. We were drinking Mad Dog. It's just, were you on that frequency while it was happening? And that's what I think the case is with some of these things that started to get blown open. The people were just doing their thing. But when you're not tuned into it, you don't see it.
I think it's a lot to do with what Shelley was saying too, because I've also heard with a lot of those occults that it's kind of mandatory to kind of show your plans before you actually do them. So it's kind of like the people had a choice type of thing.
Consenting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You know
Which is why movies mirror life so often. But
the vampire, before it can go into your house, what does it have to do?
Has to be invited. Yes.
You have to invite it in. They just
Yes.
not allowed to go in. And that's a perfect analogy for the information. You gonna allow it in? You
right.
want a piece of this? You want a part of that? And I will say, and I don't care what anybody tells me because I'm speaking from experience at this. And Luciferianism, when you want to play with demons, you have to give them permission to come in.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what kind of demon it is. They can't just come and take you over. If that was the case, and I know some of our listeners may not believe in demons. I do. I think they're real. I know they're real. You have to give them the okay. You can come in,
Yeah.
just like the vampire story. And they don't like to leave.
Well, somebody, where did I see that? Oh, the witch doctor lady, because
The
the
doctor?
the doc
The
Oh,
actual
Dr.
MD,
Warrior.
the actual
the,
yeah the
the
actual MD.
actual MD that
Yeah.
they're trying to discredit just because first of all, she's from Africa, and in those types of cultures, they believe in witchcraft.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
It's no different than Catholicism,
That's their
Judaism,
frequency.
Islam. No different. Does not discredit her medical degree. That really I'm sorry. That
Speak-
really made me mad.
speaking
That
of which, though,
really made me mad. She's an intelligent, educated person who has an MD, and she treats patients regularly. She has proven that this medication works with her patients, and they're just trying to smear her and drag her because she believes in what, spirits?
so I mean that's my thing that I was gonna come with, is that the fact that she she acknowledges the fact that that there is a metaphysical world, and she acknowledges the fact that the metaphysical world can affect the physical world, and she didn't do that in the press conference. The conference had nothing to do with any of that. The press conference had to do strictly with HQ, zinc, and the other thing. There were three topics that they were talking about, and basically from what I took from it, and I watched the whole press conference, and the most important thing that I took from it is that all of these doctors were saying, "Hey, why all of a sudden, as doctors, why are we going against everything that we've learned? Why are we just focusing on one thing rather than opening our horizons and look at all the possible options? Why are we counting out, and especially why are we counting out things that we know have worked for years and years and years with other things?" Um, so, saying that to say, it was real crazy to me that it just showed me how much control media, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube really have over people's thinking, over people's mind, because um, there's a lot of people today that will tell you that as soon as you mention this doctor, and that's why I titled it, the witch doctor, because I know I'd get the attention. But as soon as you mention this panel of doctors, because of what the media has done to the whole situation, everyone is focused on one person and focused on things that she didn't even say in the press conference, right? So it's like, I went to church this morning and I prayed to God that my son that is terminally ill, that I have a miracle for my terminally ill son. I went to church this morning, and that's what I prayed for, and I prayed for that in public. But I went to my job later on in the afternoon, and I had a press conference about what I'm actually doing at work, and the media takes the prayer from this and ties it with what I got going on at work,
Yep.
and shuts down all the, because this video was going viral. Thank you, Jennifer, for actually bringing it to our attentions. And, you know, so a couple of us got to go ahead and watch it right away. So before the media got to it, the thing started to have a viral effect. And you know, I was telling people a couple of years ago, things cannot go viral anymore. They can, but they won't, because algorithms control what goes viral and what doesn't go viral. This thing was organically about to go viral, and they shut it down in the tracks. And when I say I witnessed it with my eyes, because in the morning I watched the video, I shared it, and I watched the thing. Like, I share things on Facebook constantly, so I see how many times the thing got shared within a short space of time between when I shared it and when Facebook got their hands on it. So I saw what was about to happen. You know, and it's so crazy to me that so many people out here are just consumed by what the media tells them to think. Somebody else take it, please.
If Snopes doesn't approve it, I don't believe it.
Look,
How's the comments
say
going,
this.
Jen?
I just feel like if you haven't learned about Project Mockingbird yet, which I don't understand how anybody hasn't learned about that yet, and then you're still getting information from the news and then not fact checking, not doing your own legwork, then you're Lenin's useful idiot.
Jen, I'm going to build on what you just said. Sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
Give me 1 second, guys.
The majority of people have been, their day is so filled with distractions. And I'm not just talking about YouTube, Facebook, etc., but in general, they're so filled with distractions that they have no time to learn those things. And those things are kind of hidden. And even though I'm aware of them, I'm not playing devil's advocate.
I hear you.
It's hard for people to learn about those things. So
Yeah.
why don't you give a brief so that they can learn it from themselves and not take just our word from it?
Well, when you hear multiple doctors getting cut off of social media because they're saying a particular regimen, a particular medicine could work for a disease that's supposedly killing all these people, you have to make the concerted effort yourself and take self-accountability and carve out 20, 30 minutes a day while you're sitting in the car, letting it warm up in the winter, or sitting in traffic. Carve out 20, 30 minutes a day and look these things up. Look up the name of the drugs. Look up the history of the doctor that got cut off of YouTube, like those two doctors in Los Angeles.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They're credible doctors, and they were trying to smear these two guys because they're like, hey, listen, this is insane. This is more than just about medicine. This is more than about science. This is about it's a slow lull into socialism. You know what I'm saying? And more than that, it's a cover up for something. It is literally, look at this hand, not at this one. You know what I'm saying?
Something else there, though. The distraction is on purpose, and the average person, there's nothing wrong with being average, because
Right.
we're told what to do, how to live, American dream, etc. And so we're not aware on an individual basis that we're being duped. We're not aware that there's information out there that someone doesn't want us to see.
Yeah, but it's common sense most of the time. Just watch CNN. It's common sense. It's when they show things like, there's a clip from CNN where the guy is standing in front of a building on fire, okay? And looters in the background running around, smashing car windows, all kinds of things. And he's like, you know, it's predominantly peaceful protesters here. I mean, the place it looks like Armageddon behind him. And it's like, you know, this is peaceful protesting here. There's no need for national police or National Guard. No need for anything like that. We don't need the police down here. No one's getting injured. No one's getting injured. You're burning buildings down.
I think
and
that what oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Don't be sorry. Preach, woman,
I,
preach.
I think that what we're witnessing and part of the press conference that I did see, she said something very significant when she talked about the grassroots and how we're kind of witnessing, I won't call it a war, because the grassroots, they're not really attacking the mainstream. The mainstream is attacking grassroots.
Yeah.
So it's an attack on grassroots, and the mainstream has the power. So they can shape our perception and our reality in whichever angle they want to. So it is up to us to use our common sense. And unfortunately, common sense is not always very common. So that's why I continue to hammer that, like, we have to think for ourselves. I know it's very scary sometimes, because when you begin to analyze things and you realize that a lot of things that have been presented to you are, leaving out information or just a flat out lie, it's very scary for someone to live majority of their life and then have to relearn everything that they thought they knew. It's a very scary thing, because when I began to start to wake up to a lot of this stuff, I didn't want to believe it. I had lived a significant part of my life just kind of going along with the status quo and not thinking that the people that we trust with our lives would lie to us. And that's just not the reality of what it is. We have to be willing to examine these things from a grassroots level, because they have a system in place for us that they want us to live under. And, they want to control that by any means necessary. So they don't care who they have to kill, destroy, discredit, or whatever. They're going to try to keep this thing going by any means necessary. So it is incumbent upon.
Yeah, I think that as if you have information, like you actually do the legwork, like me, you're like I am, like I actually seek the truth. I don't just take what somebody gives me. I actually actively go. I sat through Bill Barr's entire testimony. I sit through every televised hearing in Congress, in Senate. I read every single bill. I download every executive order and read it, all the 800 pages, 400 pages, 75 pages. It doesn't matter. I read them because I want to know what they're doing to me. I'm paying them to do these things to me. So I want to know. So if you have that kind of information, I think that, so like, I'm a conservative, right? So for me to approach a leftist, I wouldn't say liberals, because liberals are not leftists, but for me to approach a leftist and try to convince them of otherwise, you're going to hit a lot of cognitive dissonance, like, I can't, no, that's not true. It's conspiracy theory. You're crazy. And like, even if you hand them the evidence, they're no, right? They're going to say it's plagiarized or forged and it's photoshopped and whatnot. I think that we have to address the way we approach people with this information instead of, so look, you got to check this out and look. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be. So I have a question for you.
My thing is,
have you ever thought about pedophilia and like what is really going on? Like, have you ever looked at those bulldog websites? Like those kind of things.
My thing, can you guys hear me? My thing is that I really want to, with this show, right, which I think all of us pretty much agree, is that what we really want to do is we want people to, we want to express the idea of people actually doing the legwork and thinking for themselves and not just not because I have an opinion and my opinion is this way that you should believe my opinion. I listen to my opinion. I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to my opinion, but listen to my opinion and dissect it. You know what I mean? Don't just take it and throw it out the window because it doesn't line up with what you believe. Take it and dissect. Actually listen to what I'm saying, because we do have two ears and one mouth. What I notice about I got to give you some props for this V to the W is that you listen. I noticed that a lot about you, is that you listen twice as much as you talk, and it shows, because when you speak, what you have to say is usually very well rounded, and it takes all things into consideration, which you can't do unless you first listen, right? And and aside from the show, the reason why I noticed that, I want to give you your props, is because in our chat, everybody here on this show is in our little creative chat together, and that's one thing I notice about Vince is we'll all be talking, and Vince will just be watching. He'll be watching because with the chats it shows you who sees what message when, and Vince will be watching and watching and watching, and he won't say a thing. But when he does say something, it's very powerful. But we do have I think we have something going on in the chat. Anything going on in the chat, Jen, that we need to know about?
No, no.
No, everything is good. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
So back to you guys.
If I could revisit the frontline doctors and the whole discrediting of Dr. Warrior and whatnot.
Oh yeah, we're weird.
All right. Play devil's advocate here. She came out and said, I healed 350 people, and she didn't give any findings or facts with it, didn't publish anything. Like, this is what gets me. This is where I play my devil's advocate and goes through my mind. Okay, so I have these ER doctors saying, like, we've tried these drugs, it doesn't work. Had other ER doctors said, we've tried these drugs, it kind of worked, but not really. Other ones say, like, yo, this shit just don't work at all. Okay, that maybe makes sense. But when you sit there and tell me that you healed 350 people, I need to know out of how many people did you treat with this, because it's not going to work for all 350. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's got to be people where this treatment didn't work on, and that's what I want to know about, because like my pops is the one that put me onto this. There's ways, there's DNA tests that doctors can take now that can say what medicines, what medications will work for you specifically. You know what I mean? Where like you can say, you take this test and like, okay, well, we're not going to give you these Percocets because that's not going to work for you. But on the other hand, there's naproxen. This is going to react perfectly to you. Or the same thing with mental psych drugs. Like, oh, this Ritalin is not going to work for you, but Adderall's a better choice, or Cialis, or what the fuck ever. You know what I mean? So they can pinpoint what medications is going to work for us, so that I know for a fact that this drug is not going to work for everybody that they give it to. So that being said, out of how many people did she treat that her treatment didn't work? And then I think if she releases those facts and findings, it will make her a little bit more credible, and people will stop thinking like, well, she said like, oh, your dick don't work? That's because you got a sex demon. Oh, you got an ovarian cyst? Oh, that's because you got a sex demon. And she legit said these things. It's fucking ridiculous. And when you mix medical science with, we'll say, spirituality, physiology, whatever the fuck, you know the words I'm thinking of. I can't think of that goddamn word, but metaphysical shit. Yeah.
Okay, so then what do you call craniosacral? Okay, because that is actually.
I can't even spell that, woman.
It's where they work over the vibrations of your body, but they actually do some healing, and they have proven that it actually works. Do you remember? I don't know if you're old enough, but I am. I'm old enough to remember when they said acupuncture was a quack science.
Yep, I remember that.
Chiropractic was looked at as junk science. They are now all doctors are learning it. It's an actual medical breakthrough. And so craniosacral is one of those things where it's a metaphysical and medical science put together. And so you can have the spiritual metaphysics with the actual science of medical doctorate.
Here, let me chime in with that. And that's why I wanted to start start out with my subject, is because that taps into the metaphysical world, and the metaphysical world absolutely and positively can and will affect the physical world.
Absolutely.
Absolutely and positively. Go ahead, John.
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
What's Donnie's approval rating right now?
It depends on which poll you ask.
Yeah.
I mean, is it fair to say that it's not looking good for him the second go around? I've been reading on numerous sources that his approval rating keeps on dropping and stuff.
But they said that in 2016 too.
I don't believe that. I'm looking at. Okay, so for instance, me for instance. Okay, me for instance. Me for instance. I didn't vote for him. He's got my vote this year.
Well, okay, hold on. This is what I'm trying to say, is that he had already expressed the hydroxychloroquine or whatever. If this turns out to be the miracle drug, don't you think it's going to boost him?
No, no, not at all. Not at all, because the way the media is set up is that even if he actually does prove that it's like this miracle drug, which it is not, but even if he does prove that it is, they're going to be like, well, he held it back from us. He didn't fight hard enough against the governors to make it right. He didn't do anything to give it to the people, even though Congress and mayors and governors wouldn't let pharmacists give it out. Ohio governor, I don't know if anybody saw, I just posted that Ohio governor actually bought millions of dollars of hydroxychloroquine and then banned it from the state.
Wow.
I'm sorry, then why'd you buy it? You know why? Because he's consuming it and he's saving it for all the elitist friends that he has and his freaking cronies and everything else he has. And then he's going to spray the market with it and charge up the price because he's in cahoots with the pharmaceutical company that made it.
And one big thing that I really want to point out.
Allegations against Mr. Michael DeWine. I'm just saying that right now.
No, but
strong allegations.
One thing I really want to point out, guys. One thing that I honestly really need to point out, and I'm not going to let it go with unless it's pointed out, is the fact that there's a lot of people thinking that for some reason there's a lot of people feeling that this press conference or this doctor, just because Trump retweeted a piece of the video, people are actually thinking that this is something that he had something to do with putting together or somehow sponsoring. And I want to I honestly just want to, give me a sec, guys. Please, for anybody that's watching this, go back to a few videos ago where when the George Floyd riot started, and I personally went to two different protests that were put on in my city. One was by Black Lives Matter, and the other was by just neighborhood people, a neighborhood store owner and a congressman, and they got together and they put together a thing. When I'm telling you, I went to both of them. The Black Lives Matter, the people with the money, the people with the power, the people with all the pull, they set their thing up to where the protesters, the people that were coming to protest, they got there agitated because the place that they were supposed to go to, the place that was advertised, first of all, they weren't allowed to be at. They never had a permit for it. So they redirected the people to downtown Fort Lauderdale. Downtown Fort Lauderdale police or city had no idea, no communication, no nothing. They didn't even try to communicate with the city officials. The earlier event, the event that actually had the permit and everything, the police the police chief actually sat and waited because he knew there were protests in the town, and he knew that people were coming to protest the police department, right? So he sat at his office. This is the actual sheriff. He actually sat in his office and he waited because he knew that he had to go out there, shake some hands, and actually go ahead and meet media and have a little speak or whatever. I was the biggest media out there. I was the media out there. Me with my cell phone was the media, right? Now, fast forward a couple hours later to the Black Lives Matter thing, right? Now, mind you, all protests, anywhere you get a permit for a protest, it's going to shut down at 5 o'clock. Yeah. Your permit is going to end at 5 o'clock. No later than 5 o'clock, because after 5 is not business hours anymore, right? Your city officials aren't around. The people that you're protesting, they're home. You know, they're not. That's not their business hours anymore. So you can't deal with them anymore. At 5 o'clock on the dot is when the news cameras started rolling in. That's when the agitators started rolling in. The people were already upset. If anybody knows anything about downtown Fort Lauderdale, parking is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So all of those things combined, it was a perfect storm. And they got a couple of pictures of a couple of officers doing wrong things. But these officers were agitated. When I tell you, I was speaking with the officers because I'm filming the event now, and the officers have the road blocked off. They have Broward Boulevard blocked off because they're thinking the protest is coming to the police department, Fort Lauderdale or Broward County Police Department. No, they had no intentions of going to Broward County Police Department, and nobody knew where they were going. They went to Fort Lauderdale Police Department, a whole nother police department. So these police now were on high tension. Saying all that to say, if Trump had anything to do with this, if you would have looked at who was actually filming and who was actually there, you would have seen at least at least Fox News, because Fox rides with Trump, right? So you would at least see Fox News would at least been there if Trump had anything to do with anything, right? There would have been enough money to have some, as people call them, real media there. But if you look, there was none of that there. This was a real grassroots effort by real doctors to make a real statement that why are we only focusing on a vaccine and masks when we have all these other options available to us. That's what they were trying to say. And if anybody thinks that Trump was behind that, you don't understand how much power the president of the United States has. You just don't.
I mean, how you worded that was like, that's really what what should have been portrayed to people. Is like they're saying like, we have other options, there's other things that we can do.
That's exactly what was portrayed.
I'm sorry, I know you stand behind old girl, but I say I would have left that chick out of it. Because no matter she doing good, if what she says is legit, I hope that it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, you know, a Debbie Downer and nothing like that. I don't want to be hating on the lady. But
what purpose would
what she says in public, what she says within her sermons and everything, and intermixing it with her medical doctorship, it makes her look foolish and it discredits everything that they were going to say.
Stop. Wait. Let me take this, Luch. That's because, and only because, you're focusing on what the media has done to this lady. Like I said, the press conference had nothing to do with any of those subjects. Nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, because this chick had this shit in her background that came up. It should have nothing to do with what the press conference was. Like, she came out, she did her thing on the press conference. She gave her reports, and she ain't saying nothing wrong. But she has all this other shit that she says some ill shit, and like people, like they know they're not gonna bring that up against her.
Okay.
Especially if
this
is true and legit.
On that point, right? We were just talking about pedophilia, right? Okay, Donald Trump, he said some off-the-wall shit. We could damn sure be for sure. Everybody here can agree that Trump has said some off-the-wall shit in these last 3 years, right? But do we all stand behind him on pedophilia?
Oh, hell yeah. 9,000 arrests. 9,000 arrests. The charges are out there in the public. You can look them up. You can get the court papers. You just have to do the legwork.
Or should we just throw out his good work from pedophilia because of the fucked up shit that he said?
Oh, hell no. Listen,
because that's what you're doing,
legislation
that's what you're doing.
For women to advance, and he still said grab him by the pussy. Listen, I personally don't take offense to that because I'm not gonna let him grab me. So what does it matter? Like, who cares? This old man, you're complaining about some 70-plus-year-old man who basically lived his heyday in the 80s with whores and cocaine all over the place. So, I mean, think about his mentality.
With all the money
he's
to
not
afford
a
it.
racist. He's not a bigot. He's not a womanizing, anti-feminist, blah, blah, blah.
He's a fucking man.
He's just got that Queen's mentality, Queen's language. If you listen to the way he speaks, if you know anything about the metropolitan area of New York City, you will understand that people from Long Island, Staten Island, and Queens are very grandiose people. And it's, oh my God, life is bigger than ever. And yo, 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 and check this out. I got the biggest, fattest house, the shiniest diamond. It could be a piece of glass, you know, and it's the shiniest diamond. Like, that's how grandiose they are.
I just want to jump
Perception.
in for 1
Please,
second
yeah.
and semi agree with Seven.
That's what I'm talking about. Tell the truth, Shelly.
Let's hear
I
it.
want to semi agree with you because you have to think, because I think a lot of times when we speak, we're speaking from our perception and perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But you have to think about the broader public and presentation and tact and all of that. People are living.
He's not a politician. He's not polished.
No,
That's
not
the thing.
him. I'm speaking of, I guess you can include him in this too. Even though he's not a politician, he put himself in that arena.
Yeah,
so
sure.
When you're thinking about tact and presentation and all of that, even with the doctor, you're asking people to go against their feelings and just think logically. A lot of people are not going to do that. Yeah. We may do it, but when people are looking at her, they're automatically having they're having a feeling about the way she's presenting the information. So now they're not going to disregard how she makes them feel or how she looks or how her message is coming across and say, wait a minute, you know, she might be very emotional, very passionate, but let's just pay attention to what it is that she's saying and let's see if this information checks out.
No, she's saying we can't pay attention to what she's saying because the media has told us to not to, because she has said some fucked up shit in the past. So we can't take anything that she says today as truth.
Beyond that, I've seen certain people calling her a lunatic.
Yeah.
They were doing that. They were doing that based off of the way she presented the information because of how passionate she was. Because when she was standing up there, she didn't mention anything about demons and whatever else. She was just talking.
Right.
But because people did not like the way she delivered the message, they automatically dismissed her and started calling her crazy. So a lot of times people do that. It's the way, even though they shouldn't, but we're asking people to think and not be emotional. And a lot of times people are not going to do that. So
no,
I
but
think
if we speak with emotion, people are gonna greet us with the emotion because whatever we let off is gonna come back onto us. So like, yeah, I agree with you there because she was so emotional when she's speaking, and she does have a heavy accent that it came across a little bit, you can say, funny sounding, and you know, but at the same time, I mean, people are passionate. I mean, shouldn't passion be a beautiful thing? Like even one of the doctors was I mean, but even one of the other doctors said to her, like, you know,
passion is a professional.
I wish all the other doctors take that kind of a passion when they're dealing with their patients. And you know, me personally, I agree with that. But who's going? Go ahead.
All right, so I want to interject. With doctors, and this is kind of left field with this. I have gone in to the doctor. I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and staph infections are very common if you don't wear rash guards, etc. It's very common within wrestling, and if we have any listeners that are wrestlers or Jiu-Jitsu people, don't understand. So I go to the doctor. I have an infection under my armpit. It's from somebody's finger, just when we're wrestling, and he prescribes to me a medicine. He prescribes to me Levaquin for those that are in the medical field, you know that it damages your tendons. It damages your muscle tissue and your tendons. And one of the common side effects of it is you end up with a ruptured tendon, major tendon, pardon me. And you can have your bicep detach. You can have any tendon detached completely because that's what this medicine does. So he prescribes that to me, knowing that I'm an athlete, knowing that I'm a jujitsu teacher, knowing that it weakens your tendons. And these guys, they're only human. These doctors are only human. They're doing what's right based on their experiences. They see, I don't know how many patients a day. They may not pick up on every single detail that they need to. I mean, they're just human. That's the moral to what I'm getting at. He did what was right for the infection, but he did what was wrong for me. Because as an athlete, I can't take Levaquin. It will wreck my tendons and I'll end up with a tendon rupture. And I end up having to have another major surgery to reattach tendons. So, yeah, and this is all a true story, by the way. I had my bicep detach out of up here, and it's now reattached in this area. So, but the doctor did his part. He did what was right by medical science. And so I just want to kind of, I don't know if it's even playing devil's advocate. It's just putting the information out there that these guys don't always make the best decisions, even though they have the best intentions. And that can go either way. So when somebody makes somebody the final voice, especially somebody who's not been in the actual field or the warfare field, like Dr. Fauci, he's been serving on a board and a panel. He hasn't been seeing people. It's been like, I think, over 20 years since he's actually seen patients. You got to
But
take
he's the end all be all. But he's
yeah,
the
you have to
right.
take it with
If
a
he
grain of
doesn't
salt.
endorse it, nobody like. If he doesn't endorse it, the public is like, fuck off with it.
I would
Yep.
like to see him. I really, really would wish he would have accepted Dr. Shiva's invitation for a debate.
Me too.
That would have been amazing.
But he
They
wasn't
That'll never
prepared.
happen.
no,
Yeah, no, he's not going to do
Not
that.
prepared.
He's not going to do that.
no,
in
you
that
know,
same role
because
forever.
he knows that he has nothing. He has
Listen,
nothing.
I mean, honestly, if it's not obvious to you guys, to anybody right now that's honestly looking at the situation, and just the fact that if you can't mention HQ,
You hate kittens.
right, without getting shut down and without getting publicly shamed, and we're talking about something that's apparently safer than aspirin that has been given. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, not in the medical field at all. But common sense just makes, sense just makes sense. If you've been taking this, if this drug has been prescribed for 15 fucking years now, and all of a sudden, all of the three-letter establishments are saying, no, we can't use this drug. We can't
Where would
even,
you go?
like, I
Yeah, it
mean,
was safe for 15 years, and now all of a sudden it's the most dangerous drug on the market.
like what?
Arms been
It
bad.
it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. No matter how you, I mean, and honestly, I can't even say no matter how, because I would like for somebody to try to make it make sense to me, because I love for things to make sense.
There's money to be made. And I know this is going to sound cliche, but think of the amount of money. I think it was like 300 million invested by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation toward the Wuhan and WHO
Now,
effort.
and you see, when people like this invest that kind of money, first thing that comes to my mind is it's not gambling. This is
Nope.
not you going to the casino and saying, I'm going to use this 300 and something million and hopefully I flip it, but I might lose it. No, it's more calculated, like Evil Knievel, taking a stunt where everybody looks at the stunt and says, oh, this was a beautiful stunt, not realizing that this stunt took way months and months of preparation and calculation, and Evil himself knows that if everything doesn't line up before I hit this ramp, I'm not taking the ramp. Like there's certain things that have to happen before I get on this ramp. And if everything doesn't happen when it's supposed to happen, I'm not getting on the ramp because it could mean my life. It's the same thing when people like this invest that kind of money. There's calculation that goes into it that they know before I spend this money, before I get on this ramp, everything has to line up.
I agree.
Also, beyond the money, I think that one thing that we're not really thinking about is who controls the narrative. So if you have these grassroots people gaining traction and people are starting to pay attention to them instead of the official leaders, then they're going to lose their power. And I think that's the most important thing to them is sustaining power to control the masses, because if they lose credibility and we're no longer listening to them and we're listening to the people on the opposing end, then they're going to have a lot of friction when it comes into keeping everybody in line. And I think that's what we witnessed. We witnessed a different perspective that was outside of the power structure's control, and they had to shut it down immediately because they can't have these glitches in the matrix, I like to call them, where people are starting to think outside of the information that is being given to them. If they lose their power, they're finished. So they have to keep everybody in line. The people who they prop up is the ones that we have to pay attention to. And anybody outside of that who's getting in the way, they have to quickly get them out of the way. They can't let it become a domino effect where people start saying, wait, well, maybe there is an alternative.
You know,
everything that they say has to be the end all be all, and that's just what it is.
It's funny because my mom used to say, and it just really came and hit me in the head. Like my mom, it's so crazy. She used to always and forever, you know. I'm sorry, guys.
I was excited to hear what your mom always said.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Got me hanging here, man. I'm on the ledge. All right, so we're gonna fill in. I just wanted to let all of our listeners know that today's episode was brought to you by the letter S, which stands for suicide, of which none of us are.
Right.
So just to clear, we're not suicidal. Anyone here suicidal that I don't know about? No.
No.
I thought it was brought by the letter Q for hate kittens.
We're not suicidal. We don't have any health risk problems. We're not drug addicts. We don't drive in cars.
Hold on. Speak for yourself. I'm a fucking drug addict like a crazy, bro. Why do they call me 7th Ave? So I find my drugs. Allegedly.
It's all for show, people. He may not be on anything. It may be for shock value. Also,
the witch doctor told him to.
and Seventh and I would just like to tell you guys, when somebody sticks a sweetie gold on your bunk, don't eat it.
Nah, man. No, if you find a candy bar just sitting there with no anything, just a candy bar, I'm telling you right now, if you eat that candy bar, the payment for said candy bar is going to be something you might not want to pay.
So that was a spiritual and political analogy. When somebody's trying to make it too easy for you, don't eat that candy bar. Don't eat the sweetie gold on your bed.
Totally agree.
You're better off trying to drink the Kool-Aid. Live longer.
All right, so we're at our 20 minutes left mark, technically 19. Any other subjects we're going to touch on?
I mean, weren't we going to touch on advanced warfare?
Yeah, but I think there was a graphic to go with it. All right, so I'm just going to put it out there real quick. I'll touch on it real quick. 2 days ago, I'd seen that the Marines actually got green lit for exosuits, and I thought that was kind of crazy because it's going to give them like crazy strength and all that crap. I don't know what.
Hell yeah, we got G.I. Joe for real.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you saw like Avatar or even played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, that kind of stuff, and it's completely redefine the warfare on the battleground. I actually had a couple videos I sent to Dre for him to queue up. But if you take it a step further, I don't know if you saw in Japan that they're building a life-size Gundam, and they
Hell
just
yeah.
did, and they just did a walking test. So you have these exosuits, and now if Japan start manufacturing these giant fucking robots, then it takes warfare to a whole different level. And there was somebody that was telling me a long time ago that the reason why kids play so many video games and nobody's really stepping in and regulating them besides parents is because the future, the soldiers are going to be created by controller. It's not going to be people on the battlegrounds. It's going to be all.
Is this who we are?
Well,
Is this who we want to be?
Controller a person
Is this
interface.
what we want to pass on to our children and
I'm
our
gonna tell you like
grandchildren?
this: exosuits and real life Gundam robots. That's not fight humans, because you don't need that shit to whip fucking JoJo ass down the block. You don't need no goddamn exosuit. So they know, because they've been saying UFOs are real. We have unidentified flying objects in the sky. It's a real thing. What do you think these exosuits are for? Fighting shit we don't know nothing about.
Well,
Or
that's
even worse,
together.
we know something about, and that's why we gotta build a fucking giant Gundam.
That's a theory that's what's gonna unite mankind under an
All I
NWO.
gotta say is when they come out with the 5 lions that turn into one big robot, I want to draw the blue one.
Yeah.
Life-size Gundam.
Sure.
That is amazing.
Found it.
The second one is good too. Make sure you.
Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Look at that,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
bro. They're not building that shit. They are not building that shit to fight Pakistan. I'm telling you that shit right now.
No, hell no.
Yo, this is crazy. Look at
Hell
no,
no.
that's true. That's true. That's definitely true. That's not a that. So this is not a real. This is not a military thing, right? This is like a movie.
No, I don't think it's
production
a
thing?
movie or anything like that. They
It's
have a
robotic.
fascination with mechs, man.
It's a what?
Yeah.
It's a mech.
Mechs.
Mechs, mechanical.
A
blah, blah,
robot.
blah, blah, mechs.
It's just
Yeah, mechs.
Yes, robots.
It's a
Robots.
robot.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Now,
they like this thing is not
right.
going to fight. Like, this is not. They're not making this thing to go to war with anything. Like, this is just
I'm
like for
talking
show.
about with the
Oh, yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
it further perpetuating into on the battlefield. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
try
watch
the
Batman?
Karatas one.
The next one that you gave me.
I mean, when they first made cars, they didn't think they were gonna be tanks, did they?
Yeah.
But no, all you need is that first one. So you got this giant Gundam robot that could walk and this, that, and the third. What's next? Put guns and missiles on that thing.
Exactly, and that's why
What's
I like
next?
to bring attention.
Make
to
a
the
fucking
second
laser
video.
sword for it to fucking stab giant sea beasts with.
What were you
And
saying?
this company that if it starts sells them privately. This is like a whole presentation. So you just skip around. You'll see it driving. You'll see that they have mock artillery on it.
Mm-hmm.
Check this thing.
Yeah.
There's somebody in there.
Oh, that
Yeah. Imagine that thing.
bro.
Yeah, that thing will pull up and snatch your car up. That thing will snatch your whole car. That thing will snatch your whole freaking car up, bro. Like it's
Look,
nothing.
like I said, this shit is not to defend us against other human beings. So if I was everybody out there, I'd start looking into some sort of weaponry to protect you from extraterrestrial beings. I mean, I hear something about
Good day,
aluminum foil
everyone.
hats help.
You are looking at model number 001.
Like
All I'm saying is
Developed by
2020
Seido Bashi
has been a very revealing year as well as a devastating year.
So I have a different perspective on extraterrestrials. I don't want y'all to think I'm the witch doctor, but
No.
I
Tread
have
carefully.
a totally different perspective on extraterrestrials. I honestly think that if they were to invade, that it would be on our behalf. Um, and I won't really get too far into it, but just based on different things that I have experienced personally, I don't think that for some of us that we would have much of anything to worry about. I honestly think that they would be intervening on our behalf just based on events that I feel like are going to come into play, because I honestly feel like at some point there's going to be a line drawn in the sand where we will have that final battle they speak of with good versus evil. And yeah, I think that that day is coming a lot sooner than we think. And I don't think that they would, we would have to worry about them coming against the ones that's on the side of good. If anything, I think that they'll be here to defend us, honestly.
I hope. I hope.
Yeah,
You
I
would
mean,
hope, but knowing human nature, the aliens that will come down here and act like and they gonna try to bring peace, and the first thing we're gonna do is smack them in the face and spit in their mouth and try to steal the technology. Like I don't trust the powers that be to
You have
fucking
no faith in
properly.
humanity at all. No faith
None
in
at all.
humanity
No,
at all.
no,
Listen, dude hates
no.
kittens, but he makes a very
Nobody
valid point.
hates kids.
Makes a valid point.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're probably absolutely right. The first thing that they would want to do is, people would be opportunistic and do whatever we can to take and feed off of it and figure out how it works and what it does and
Exactly. Like,
manipulate it to our own purpose. But I don't see that going down. I think
look at
that there'll
every
be too
movie.
much. It'll be too much of us being in awe.
Look at every movie
I'm with Shelly. I'm with Shelly on this.
ever has to do with extraterrestrials, all the way down to ET. What does the government want to do with every alien in every alien movie? They want to cut them open to see what's inside.
They didn't do that. They didn't. No, in Signs they didn't do that. In Signs they understood that this was extraterrestrial, and all they wanted them to do was go, just get gone. So they discovered, with the little girl with the water and the cup and the hair and the, you know what I'm saying?
And
so
if they wouldn't have had COVID during Signs,
yeah.
Where's my microphone? Drop. All right, we're on the 10-minute mark, folks. How are we going to summarize and wrap this to a close?
Well, somebody go.
Vince.
Owen.
Hold on, unless you guys want to see a magic trick. Ready?
Let's do it.
You see that?
Yes.
No, don't stick it up your nose.
Oh.
Wait, no, what?
Where'd it go?
It's in his hand.
He dropped it down.
You guys don't screw it up for me. I love that. That was a cool trick.
You took away the magic. You officially ruined it.
If you would have told me you were gonna do something like that, I would have had a paper clip on deck, and I was like.
And Santa Claus don't exist either.
All right, so I do have something I want to say to our listeners. Those of you that are listening, if you're enjoying and whatnot, definitely leave us some feedback. If you have any questions or topics you want us to cover, or even angles, we do look at it. We may not bring it up during the show, but if we do, hopefully we'll remember to give you credit. So please send your questions, comments, subscriptions, etc. And we do appreciate you watching.
It's like Survivor. You can vote us off the show too.
No, not yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not ready to be voted off. Not quite ready.
This is freedom soup, guys. This is what freedom soup looks like. If you don't have all these ingredients, and if there's anyone to this side of my thing and over here, it don't taste the same. We need each other.
No, yeah, honestly, real deal. That's what I want everybody to be able to take from any one of our shows is that, it's not any yes man here. Everybody on this panel has a strong opinion on what they believe in, and we don't all share the same opinion.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we can all sit here and we can have a conversation like just regular adults, and we're not at each other's necks, and we can respect each other enough to hear each other first of all, and because we're willing to hear each other, we actually end up learning from each other. So I just really want to that's really what I want to take and want anybody to take from it, that you know this is not a hand picked set of people. It's not like these were six people that you see on the screen here that were hanging out in a bar together and said, let's put on a show together. These are people from all different walks of life. Some of us know each other on a personal level. Others of us don't know each other and never met each other in real life. But we can all actually sit here and have decent conversation, dialect, and learn from each other and enlighten each other and respect each other enough to listen to each other.
Love
Who
it.
else?
Excellent
Well,
summary.
before I go, I just want to say if anybody who's been listening, if any of this information is new to you, I don't want you to walk away weary and afraid. Um, we're living in a turning point in history right now. So just look at it as such. Don't look at it as a time to worry or be afraid. They say 2020 is the year of crystal clear vision. So a lot of things will be coming to light that you may not have ever known about, but it's not anything to be afraid of. I think that it's time that we embrace this information and we know that this is just a moment in time. It's just a moment in history. We will get through this. It's nothing to be afraid of. Just be open to the information, take it in, investigate it for what it is, and don't be discouraged by it. If we're going to make it through this, we're all going to have to be open to learning something new. We can't be afraid of it, and we just have to open our minds to it. So I just want to encourage everyone to not be afraid and just to know that we're all going to get through this together.
Love it. Jen, any
That's
closing
it.
thoughts?
No. How can I follow that? You just thrown me under the bus like that. There is no following that.
Well, I'm trying to be the one that, kind of helps orchestrate, keep people moving.
Yeah.
What else is there to add?
What's your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts is like, look, everybody, to all of our listeners and all the people out there, you see that we have a lot of different opposing views. But at the end of the day, we all still friends and colleagues. So if you have differences of opinions with somebody, it don't mean that they hate you or they don't like you. You can't be friends no more. You can have differences of opinion. It's what makes us unique and what makes us people. Quit being mad at people for having different views. Try to see it from their point of view. Try to convince them to look from your point of view, but don't make it all about, oh, you don't believe what I believe, you're full of shit. Nah, fuck that shit. And follow me on Twitter at av_7th. I'll be tweeting all week about things that's going on, random mishaps, and hell, you might even catch a picture of me on the 7th.
All right, so explicit language real quick. Just don't be a fucking dickhead and be nice to each other.
Oh man, preach.
That's it. Other than that, each other regardless.
I'll take the second to last thought. Always remember the story of who is my neighbor. That is the story of the man who got robbed on the way to Jericho. For those of you that don't know it, look it up. But I'll give you a quick summary. The people that should have been helping the man who got robbed on the road to Jericho did not help him. Religious people did not help him. A complete stranger, and actually somebody who was racially divided from this man's origins, was the one to show him mercy. So I'd like to definitely always give props to who then is my neighbor. Mr. Andre, take it away.
I've already had my closing thought. You're the one that shut it up.
I'm just trying.
No kittens.
There were no kittens harmed in this. Seventh Avenue does not hate kittens.
I do not hate kittens.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I'll just plug my YouTube channel, Shelly Speaks Truth. Come join, subscribe, like, and share.
Turn the notifications on.
Yes.
All right. Real quick, Dre. What did your mom tell you?
Yes.
You can't just fucking hanging like that.
You left the whole
girl.
thing, homie.
Bro, we'll talk about it later.
All right.
Okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
pushing. No means no. No means
Yeah. I would. It's just.
Tell me
It was.
that.
It just looked like something so passionate that I was.
No,
It
honestly,
really got me. It reeled me in.
it's not even about what, you know. I can't talk about my mama here, bro. I can't.
Gotcha. It's the memories associated with it.
I can't. Yeah.
I feel you, man. I respect it. I won't push about it no more. I was just wondering.
All right. Sorry about that.
I can speak about my pops on there, and I'm gonna leave y'all with the best piece of advice he's ever given me. Have a good night.
Walk away. That's the advice.
You didn't walk away.
I wanted to walk
That's the
away.
only thing I ever learned from my pops.
Good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh boy.
2 minutes.
Love you.
2 minutes. All right. So what are we gonna do for 2 minutes?
We're gonna thank all of our listeners. Took the time to listen to us. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, leave comments, leave questions.
Like, subscribe, share.
Subscribe. Yeah.
Like, share. Help us to build
Scared, but
our little
everybody
modest
thinks I'm a
channel.
conspiracy theorist, so they're not gonna watch.
Who watches?
But
You know
listen,
what
listen.
time it is.
I called Santo back before Obama even had dealings out in the open with him. I called it, and they called me crazy, and then boom, people started getting cancer. Boom, people started suing. Boom, you found out the EPA was owned by Monsanto. Like. And I mean, this is I work with contaminants. This is what I do, and
we got some shows to do. We definitely got some shows to do.
It's going to be exciting for next week's show. Everybody stay tuned. What is our sign off? Willie O'Fryer, fire, broccoli.
I'm on fire. Okay, so our sign off is thank you. That's it. No, I'm playing. Thanks.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Where talk is cheap, but at least the thoughts are free.
Oh man.
Later.
Peace.